discovery. Last week, we did something very cool with Tempest. Well, I spent a whole week working on it, and it was to take our discovery component and to make it truly decoupled from the framework. It already was halfway there, I would say, but things were just intertwined a little bit too much. Because I wrote this blog post here, and I posted it on socials and on the Reddit, you know, and Reddit was interesting. Maybe I just didn't do good enough an explanation of what discovery is in this blog post. I took a very simple example, and people said, yeah, but you can also do it in this way with Symfony. And that's true. But then I was like, yeah, but hang on, it's not really the same, you know, but it's difficult to explain. So I'm going to do a live stream now. I'm going to struggle through making it work with Laravel, with a very, like another style of example. And then I'm going to write it into a blog post. I'm going to be brave and probably publish it on Reddit again, and then we'll see what happens. Let me just grab that example real quick from the blog post. If you've like a long-time subscriber, you might even remember me building Discovery for the first time, the very first iteration here during a live stream. But it's gone through a couple of iterations, and the thing about Discovery in Tempest is it's really at the core of the framework. That's first important thing. And the second important thing is that it's made to be extensible. It's made for projects to just do their own thing with it. And I'm going to show you an example of that. Now that it's truly decoupled, we can just put it into Laravel and use Discovery there in a Laravel setting. And I'm going to build a feature with it. My example in the blog post here it's a classic example. We have these projector classes, they implement an interface, and we want to register all projectors within our code base within a config file. So we can grab that config file, then that collection of projectors that are in the code base, and we can do things with it. For example, we can use it in an event bus middleware. We can use it in a command to replay events on specific projectors. And so I gave this example. This is a very simple example of Discovery in action, where you inject that projector config, right? That's the thing that's the place where things get registered for projector related code. And then you have this discovery method. And what this discovery method does is it's getting called for every single file within your project. And that includes vendor files. There are side notes to make here. Don't worry, it's super performant. There is proper caching in place. We've spent 2 years on this, more than 2 years actually, I think. It's fine, it works really well. It's super convenient. And so basically what this class does is it looks at all the files in your whole project and says, these are the kind of files I want to work with. And in this case, it's classes implementing the projector interface. And this is where people with the Symfony example kind of got confused, I would say. Like, yeah, you can also do this with, I think there are tagged interfaces, tagged classes, or auto tag stuff. And yes, that's true, but Discovery is so much more than that. This example was just maybe too simple an example. You add these two Discovery items, and then you apply them afterwards. And the reason this is in 2 steps is because of caching, because everything that happens here is cached and doesn't happen on production, but also for the biggest part doesn't happen during development. So this is a very simple example of Discovery. We're going to now build a new feature in Laravel that I know everyone will love with Discovery, and it's gonna be like 5 lines of code. Okay, so this is a clean Laravel project. I installed it just before this stream, just Laravel new. This is the result of Laravel new. I did some trying out on the Tempest branch, but main branch is just clean. And what we want to do, like I said, it's going to be a feature everyone loves, is we're going to add route attributes. Let's actually make a support folder here. Route attributes. Oh no, they suck, blah, blah, blah. Route attributes are so much better than route config. I have a blog post here. There's a link if you have some time, read through it. Like, all your concerns are addressed in that blog post. Route attributes are awesome. Everyone should use it. It makes so much more sense. that being said, let's go with this. So in this example, we're gonna have two route attributes for now. We're gonna have a get attribute and a post attribute. Oh, and maybe I should go to our. No, let's not remove anything. Remove the controller, abstract controller thing. We don't need a home controller. And so what we're gonna do with these classes in place, there's attribute. Oh yeah, and then indeed, target method, target. So we have our home controller with our invoke method here. And usually what you do in Laravel, you register all your routes in a single file or multiple files. And then you have artisan routes list, I think. No, route list. Yes, and then it's here. Let's remove this. Now, yeah, that's gone. And we want to be able to say this, basically, get dash. And let's see, we have to public string path. Okay, so that's basically it. And we have to do the same for post, of course. We're going to build on top of this. No worries, no worries. We start simple. Now, how do we go from this to the routes being listed here? We're going to do a little bit of preparation work. So we're going to make an interface here, a route interface, yes, which has, for now, one method, apply, public function apply, void. And we're going to implement it here, implement route, and then implement route. Yeah, that's fine. Oh yeah, now we have to add these methods here, like so. So when we apply a route, we need to translate it to our Laravel, right? And I think that's using the route facade as Laravel route. And so when we apply this route, which basically says this is the method that we're going to call during our discovery phase, we'll say Laravel route get this path. And we still need something here, by the way. We need to refer to an action in the interface. Actually, let's say we also need public what's it called, array action get, set and get. Actually, this is something we'll have to still configure, right? We're just setting stuff up here, and then we'll link everything together. So this action, right? So when the get attribute gets picked up by discovery, we're going to call this method, and we're going to register then this route into the Laravel router. How do we link these two together? So because we have our route attributes now, but nothing happens, of course. We need something that scans the code base, preferably just anything, not just files that are in the controller, you know, and then does something with it. And we need that thing to do it in a performant way, to have caching and pre-compiling. And yeah, that is Tempest discovery. So composer require Tempest discovery. We're going to set up our discovery over here. So route discovery implements discovery. That's an interface, and there is a trait here, is discovery, that fills in some of the gaps for you. Anyway, we have discover and we have apply. So these are the two steps. The discover part is the thing that gets cached, and then apply is the thing that's actually getting run on boot. So nothing will happen here, right? We first need to, not composer require. We need to make this code run. And for that, we need a service provider. So PHP artisan make service, make provider. Oh yeah, make routing service provider. Where is it? It's over here, of course. I'm going to move it over here. And I think, so I want this to run on boot. Let's see. It's here. Yeah, it's added in some kind of config file, I think. Over here, yeah, it's just added automatically by that make command. Can we remove register? Always a bit like of a gamble with Laravel, right? I think we can. Can we, is this thing on? Yeah. So this is the place where we want to boot our discovery, and then from there on out, discovery will take care of everything, basically. So how do we do that? First, we need a config, and I'm going to make that config object manually for now, because I only want this code to, my discovery stuff to be discovered within the app namespace. I don't need to scan vendor for now. We're building something within our project, right? So a new discovery config, and we have to pass it an array of locations. and we say new discovery location. And discovery location takes two things, the namespace and the path. So the namespace is app, basically. That should be fine. I can add / here. And then app path. Ooh, no, like this. So we have our config, and then we say new boot discovery. We pass it the config file, and we actually invoke it. What's the thing? Oh yeah, of course. Hang on, I forgot something. So we have the config, but the other thing we need, this is what makes discovery work. It needs a container because you need to store your discovered results somewhere. And so discovery says Tempest discovery requires a PSR 11 container as the place where people can, interact with. And then we support auto wiring, of course, and stuff like that to just make it really convenient. But we need a container because that's kind of the heart of your application. And within Laravel, of course, container is called app, because that's clear. Now we are in our discovery class over here. That means discovery already picked up on this class, which is exactly what discovery does. Discovery will discover discovery classes. There's some recursion going on there, and it works really well. So from now on, we don't have to worry about adding config stuff to arrays and stuff like that. What we want to do here, we want to discover any method with a routing attribute. So let's say if a route equals, and then we have class get attribute route, not LD. Oh, it's class. No. Hang on. We need to loop over all the methods, right? So for each class, get public methods as method. So now we have our get attribute here. We've discovered that this method over here in our code base has the get attribute. So that's really nice. Let's see what do we want to do. We need to store this in this discovery items add, basically. I mean, the reason we need to do that is for caching, right? But what do we want to store exactly? We want to store the route, but we also want to keep a reference because remember, we still need to set that action here. And we need to set it over here, basically, because we need that information later on. So we'll say action equals, then an array, right? Method, declaring class, get name. And then we'll store it in discovery items. Again, this is just for caching. We'll do something with it in a second, but just to show what's happening here. So we have our route, we discovered it, Tempest did that for us, and now we have an instance of that route attribute with the action actually set because we need it later on. Now we actually have to apply our discovered items. Could be anything. It doesn't have to be a class, can be a file, can be like an attribute like this, could be, I don't know, something based on naming conventions or attributes or interfaces or abstract classes, whatever you want. So we'll loop over everything that this is just something technical with discovery. Again, to be able to cache everything. So we'll loop over our routes and we'll just apply them. And remember, that's just calling, actually, let's add a dog block here. And this method is just calling the implementation here or here. And so I think if all is well, this is everything we had to do. If all is well, we should now be able to run artisan route list. And our home controller should be there again with the right path. And let me run it. Oh, you can't see it. Hang on. Here we have it. So it picked up on it. Let's see what else we can do, like a blog controller. And let's add our things here. We're going to improve this a lot, by the way. Just hang on. Like that. Good. Let's see our routes list. Okay, everything's there because discovery is picking it up on. Yeah, I want to introduce a second concept, actually, The problem with attributes that people often cite, route attributes, oh, route grouping becomes such a pain because with routing, you would say route, like the facade approach, like group or prefix. I don't remember group, prefix. And so what we have in Tempest, which I want to try to replicate here as well. I'm not sure how well it will work with Laravel, but we'll have to. We might have to do some source diving. I hope it'll work. I didn't try this out. Is a route decorator. Route decorator. And what it does is decorate route. And yeah, basically that's already it. But let's say, I'm just going to call it blog for now. So we're going to say this is an attribute and it implements route decorator. Gonna add it over here for everything, and then our goal is to get rid of these prefixes. This decorator here, its goal is to add the prefix, basically. And so now we need to introduce something to our route interface here. You know what? Middleware string prefix is a route over here, and empty string, and then middleware is empty array, like so. And then we can use it's not a trait, of course. Trait is route, like so. And same for our post, just so that we don't have like all the duplication here. There are better ways to configure all of this, but it's not really the point that I want to get to. So this is fine. In our apply method then, and this is where we'll have to see if it works. Can we do group? No. Do prefix? Yes. Prefix, and then middleware, this middleware, and then post. Actually, that's kind of clean, right? Okay, so the same over here. This, I think, is good for the attributes. I think that's all we need to do with the attributes. We go back to our discovery here, and so instead of only adding like the action over here, we can do more things. We can, for example, find out if there are any route decorator attributes on that same class. So let's say for each method get attributes route decorator as decorator. Let's see if it actually picks up on it. It does. So there's our blog thingy. And what we can do now is we say route equals decorator decorate route. Yes, and that's all we need to do, I think. Yeah, let's see if it works. It doesn't. Oh, of course, we need to add the prefix here. So return route, we can say, and then route prefix equals blog. We need to take care of like slashes and stuff like that. And then it actually works. So now we have our blog goes to blog controller, post goes to store. Yeah, that's all fine. One more addition I want to do here, instead of just having to manually provide blog everywhere, is, okay, let's remove it like this and let's just add it on. Let's make it final as well. By the way, I'm going to rename this to blog route for clarity. I don't know, whatever you prefer, of course. But so first we want to apply our class. Actually, what we can do here is just decorator, that's such a difficult word. Decorators equals, and then we'll do this. Also add class get attributes. Still works, and we have our blog route over here. What I hope is that this is kind of a slightly better demo of what discovery is about. It's not just about registering classes in the container. It's about truly looking into whatever code is written and understanding what the developer wants to do with it without having to do a lot of config stuff. Like, for example, route files as with Laravel. Now, I know people like route files. I think the attribute approach is much better, especially with route decorators. It's really powerful. And I really like I did the route files for years, and it's all fine in theory, where you say, oh yeah, we have a route file pointing to our controllers, and we have all these routes in one place, and the world is beautiful, until you get into like several nested levels deep of route groups and thousands of lines of route configuration. Then it's not fun anymore. And this is what happens in real apps. So anyway, I prefer the attributes, but do whatever you want. The thing I wanted to show today is that it's super trivial to set up, to add this kind of functionality to Laravel with 40 lines of code. Enzo is already working on a Laravel package, by the way, for routing, I think it was. But imagine like the possibilities with Discovery. And I can imagine it because I've written a whole framework built on top of Discovery. But you can discover anything. It's not just classes. We have an option. It's opt-in for discovering files as well. So if you write, for example, in Tempest, you have the option to have migration files, SQL files, just raw SQL as migrations, and you can just do that. They are discovered for you. Config files in Tempest are based on naming conventions.config.php, and they are discovered as well. You can discover based on classes, interfaces, classes they extend. You can loop over the methods. You can do anything. You have the reflection class available, and it's all cached anyway. So of course, like some things, when you're talking about project code and project discovery, it's not that easy, not that straightforward to cache there, because you might have to like deal with some changes. You're constantly working there. So for discovery classes that are subject to change, there is no caching during development, but that's just, there is very little overhead to it. And then in production, you just generate discovery cache. Everything is cached. Basically, it generates up until that apply method, which can be compared to a web.php config file, basically, which is also interpreted at runtime. So there is like no difference there. You can do so much things with discovery. It's so much more than what people compared to tagged singletons or whatever the auto tag configuration in Symfony container. I don't know. 40 lines of code. This is it. And this adds support for route attributes with route decorators as well. It has then support for middleware, prefixes. You can of course build on this. You can make it a lot more complex and do whatever you want with it. But that's the beauty. You can do whatever you want with it because you just have a blank slate. And I love it. I love Tempest. So anyway, give it a try. Like I said, I think Enzo is already working on a package for Laravel specifically, where we add like these convenience commands to generate discovery cache and then routing. I think he was doing routing. I don't know. But yeah, super cool. I hope you get a better understanding now of what discovery is about. It is seriously amazing. Try it out and see what you can come up with. So yeah, we made it. I will see you next time. Before you leave, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't yet. And then I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye-bye.